is the On Call Podcast. Your home for sports, news, pop culture, tech, and the obscure. And of course, your host, Michael Meyer.
I've been drinking Kool-Aid jammers like I did when I was 9, 'cause I like to pretend that I haven't lost the time. In the end, the nostalgia, though it tastes fine, I can only drink a couple 'cause it feels like a lie. We played Halo and we'd lay low in our basement until the sun began to rise. We would go to school but not learn too much, 'cause it's hard to read when you've got tired eyes.
Instead of Westbrook. Been much better. And kept Caruso. They could their starting lineup could have been Caruso, Hield, LeBron, Davis, Turner. That's a good team. Like, that's a really good basketball team. And it's good defensively.
It's true.
Because Anthony Davis and Turner would be a great defensive, bigs. And then LeBron is good at defense when he puts forth the effort. Caruso is an excellent defender. Buddy Hield's okay, but can shoot threes. It would have made that team would have been good. And everyone could shoot.
I think they really regret getting rid of Caruso.
Yeah. It was just that was just a money issue. That's all it was. They could have paid him what the Bulls paid him, but it would have put him further into the luxury tax was the only reason they didn't do it. And that was a mistake. It wouldn't have made a difference last year, though. They were just bad.
If we lose power, it's because there's a storm going on pretty good outside right now. The Thunder's a rolling. This is the MVZ podcast. We are chilling in the bar stools. I still don't know if Nicole likes these or hates them. Savannah loves them. She wants one in her room, but I said no. So I'm a mean dad. So I got the two out here. One that's got Jackson's nebulizer treatments because he had something. They don't even know what it is. They said he tested negative for everything, but he does have a rattly cough. I'm like, all right, well, nebs and steroids. Here we go. So he's been going through his nebs. He's good now. No, he never had a fever or anything, so that's good. Just a rattly cough. And then one bar stool at the bar, taking over for the one that I fucking broke. I think looking at the camera there, it looks like I need some golf stuff up there. I'm going golfing again this weekend. Someday. I think Sunday I'm going.
You are?
With Uncle Bill, that motorcycle. It's directly behind me. He's going to go. He used to be way better than me, but now he's getting old, blind, deaf. It's like going golfing with Helen Keller. And he's so rusty. Like, I should pummel him. And if you do like golfing, there's an app that my buddy Matt, who you met, he showed me. It's called the Golf Shot app. It's baller. It'll track your shots. Like, if you get the pro version, which is like $50 a year, it marks your location when it senses a shot. And then it marks your location from the next shot. So it knows your ball travel and everything. It can automatically keep your scorecard for every course. I think it's got like 15,000 courses, which I did not realize there's that many golf courses.
Oh, yeah.
That's a lot of wasted real estate.
Yeah. It's money making.
I guess I shouldn't be surprised because there's
a billion in Florida alone, it feels like.
There's 6 within 20 minutes of here.
Mm-hmm.
5 in Rotunda. Then there's the Cove, which is like a par 3 executive course. It's really short. And when you leave here, do you go right off of Gasparilla or left on 776? You take a right?
I think you're right.
If you keep going up there, there's the Wild Woods or whatever, Riverwood, which is a really nice course. And every development, which from where I'm from, there weren't gated communities, but like every community here is gated. It feels like there's just gated communities everywhere. Every gated community has its own golf course, unless you're Rotunda, in which case you have 5 public golf courses.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's the private Lemon Bay Golf Club, which I haven't gone yet, but I really want to.
And there's just all the country clubs, and it gets out of hand in a hurry.
And have you ever heard of IMG?
IMG?
So I hadn't heard of IMG either until living here for almost 10 years. IMG Academy is all sports. Tiger Woods plays there. Serena and Venus Williams play there. Professional swimmers swim there. They have a rowing. Professional rowers go there for Olympic training. And they have the IMG Golf Academy, which is where one of the courses that Tiger Woods rehabs at after surgeries. I don't know how it's paid for, but it's like sponsored by Nike. It's sponsored by Under Armour. It's sponsored by Titleist and Callaway. Sponsored by Puma, because they also have like a crazy golf soccer football. It is where professional athletes go that live in Florida, keep up their game. I did not realize it, but they just spent like $6 million building this facility for rowers alone.
Jeez.
And everyone just walks around it. Like all the old people just walk around. There's a walking course. It's like 5 miles to go around the whole.
And where in Florida is this?
Bradenton. It's about an hour and 10-minute drive. But the Big Summer Golf Card, if you do like golf and you're in Florida, check out the Big Summer Golf Card, because it's $45. It's good for a year. And in the summertime, you can go to like private courses that are usually completely off limits, and you can go there for like $40 for a round of 18 with a card. Yeah, I'm gonna do. Oh, Cameron might have picked that one up. That was a good thunder roll. So here we are in we're in the cave. But you'll notice I put the sign up over there. It's next to the door opener. It's a Bears fan cave, or Bears man cave. What is it? This cave runs on Bear Power. My turf, my team. Bears fans only. Others not allowed. His Steelers football shirt on.
Yep.
Expecting a kid, most moms go through a nesting.
Mm-hmm.
Nicole started hers way late. Baby's coming in 2 weeks. Now she wants to get in high gear. So it's been a week. I hung up that calendar out there. It's on the other side of the doorway. It's a fancy calendar that she got. We got it last May. I hung it yesterday. Now there's another kid coming, but there's like a to-do list, a chore list for all the kids, even Jack's, but not for whatever this one's called. Whatever we name this baby. Welcome to Game 5 of the NBA Finals.
Nope.
I mean, NBA Eastern Conference Championship. Wow.
There you go.
It is the Boston Celtics versus the Miami Heat. Is Hero playing tonight?
No.
What happened to Hero? All I heard is like he was missing. Was the last game the first game he missed?
I don't know. I don't know his injury. It's not like he's been playing well when he has been playing.
I saw him chunk a few shots. That's about it. I haven't seen him be. I thought he was a superstar. Is he not a superstar?
No. He was. Who was it? I can't remember what player it was, but scored on Hero and was like, "That's what you get, you bubble fraud."
Oh,
Because he played so well in the bubble. Hero.
I think that's what it
and
is.
that was like the only time he played well. Like he had a bounce back season this year somewhat, but as a rookie, he had a big time like performance in the bubble, and the league, a lot of the players are calling him a bubble fraud.
So he just kind of seems like is he even a starter? Or is he a sixth man?
He's sixth man. That can come off the bench and just shoot it a bunch.
So yeah, I recall him in college being.
But he plays
a
starters
trucker.
minutes, so he closes. That's the thing people will talk about in the NBA. A lot of times it's not who starts, it's who closes. There are a lot of six-man people out there who play like 32 minutes off the bench and close the game. It's like, okay, they basically start. And you'll see starters who play like 18 minutes. And it's just like the natural way to stagger some of your scores.
So the sixth man is in when number one goes out.
Yeah. And
Right.
he comes in there and just chucks, basically.
Like a guy that would be good for like the Mavs
Like Jamal Crawford did it for years and years and years.
for the Bulls, yeah.
You come off the bench and you go out there with four defensive guys who can't really score, and they're like, all right, you're gonna go just play offense. And
Yeah, Jamal
you go.
Crawford did it, playing 36 minutes a game for years.
but in the minutes where he was playing with the second unit, he was just out there chucking.
He did have a killer crossover. I remember Jamal Crawford back in the day.
Yeah.
You know, looking at him now, you see Eric Spoelstra there. Who would have guessed he would even still be coaching with all the drama he dealt with during the Big Three of Miami? He's just a placeholder. He ain't nothing. It's LeBron's team. You're not coaching nothing. He's still fucking there. They're at one seed.
He's a good coach.
No one would have guessed that a couple years in.
I guessed it when he was still there, like year 3. If you can coach LeBron 3 straight years, you're a good coach. Because the problem is LeBron has to respect you intellectually.
Yeah.
Like, he likes him, he likes Ty Lue, but like Mike Brown, LeBron was just like, shut up. You know what I mean? Like,
That's true. He still doesn't like Mike Brown.
because he doesn't know what he's doing. Like, you have to like actually know what you're talking about. Like, LeBron and Brad Stevens would have made a lot of sense. But Brad Stevens isn't coaching anymore.
I could see Brad Stevens being the guy that would tell LeBron to get on the bench. He's done for the night. And LeBron doing, no.
He wouldn't bench LeBron. Because LeBron's never out there like actively hurting his team.
Where's Brad Stevens at?
He's promoted. He's the president of operations for the Celtics now.
That's right. He took over for Danny Ainge, didn't he?
Yep.
What's Danny Ainge doing?
Retirement.
I wish I was so successful I could retire in my 40s.
You think Danny Ainge is in his 40s?
I could be 50s. I guess he played in the league.
He's like super old, I think.
I think it's just because
How old is Danny Ainge?
I watched so many clips of him. He's probably like 54.
63.
No shit.
That's old enough to be done if you want.
It's one of those things where I'm getting older and
Honestly, I thought he played like in like the like early 80s.
I gotta tell the little one good night. So let me do one of these gimmicks. Oh man, see, we were talking about Danny Ainge and all that, and it just makes you realize, I'm getting fucking old, man. I'm getting old. Last day of school. Done with 3rd grade. Going on to 4th, starting next year. 4th grade, that's not little anymore.
It's little.
I mean, it's little, but it's not. I don't feel old enough some
not,
days.
Yeah, she's not like a baby. Like, she's not a baby or a toddler. She's full on like 4th grade where it's like, no, you're a kid. Like 4th through 6th grade is full on like you're just a big kid. And then after 6th grade you hit teenager and
Time flies, man.
it's kind of crazy. I saw some graph one time that was super depressing. It's like you get like a year of infants, like of an infant, like 2 years of toddler, like 2 years of preschool. And like it was like basically like every section of your kid's life is only like 2 years, basically.
Enjoy it while you got it, because it ain't gonna last.
Because like it said, kindergarten through like 2nd grade is a phase, and then like 3rd through like 5th is a phase, and then 6th through 8th, and then you have high school years, and even high school years you can break up somewhat. Like freshman and sophomore year are not like junior and senior year.
No. Well, no, because once you hit junior year, you got to start thinking like the future.
And then they're gone. That's what's crazy. Like, well, nowadays they come back. They're gone for 4 or 5 years.
In this
college, and then
economy?
they come back.
Well, let me get rid of that page. So that was what we were going to talk about today here. Was it the top 5's at their position? To do the proper thing, we should say condolences. I can't. So when that happened, the shooting, I don't know who your news sources were, but when I was like, refreshing the page and everything, I was like, was there a fucking 9-year-old shooting up a school?
Mm-mm.
I see he was 18. I haven't heard of any manifesto like I expected.
Did you hear that the police were there before he shot anybody?
No.
They couldn't stop him because he was wearing armor, and the police weren't armed heavily enough to be able to deal with what he was wearing. So he was armed better than the police, so they had to wait for the special forces unit to get there.
Considering what kind of...
Because like the school called it in when they saw the kid with the assault rifle, and the police showed up, and then they basically couldn't stop him. Like, it's just gross. It's like, are headshots not a thing? Guys, I don't know what all this kid was wearing, but like, do they have protective helmets that are bulletproof?
Did he? I'm sure they do. I mean, just the helmets that we got, and
Someone took him out though.
It's true. He did get it.
Special forces got there and ended it. So
I would like to. I gotta read more into it. I haven't had any free time yet, man.
it's just not a fun read. But yeah, it came out today that the police were actually there before he actually had shot anyone, and they still weren't able to stop it. Which,
I mean, if they're there,
to me kind of communicates that like arming teachers probably isn't the answer then, because if the cops are there and
But
they can't stop the guy,
did they shoot anything?
did the cops shoot him?
Were they shooting at him?
I'm assuming they couldn't take him out. That or they just let him do it, which doesn't make any kind of sense. Because they said that he was too heavily armored for them to be able to deal with, is what they said.
I find that hard to believe. Because
I mean,
if you're shooting at him, how's he going to be shooting at other people?
Do police have Kevlar piercing rounds?
You'd think they'd have some hollow tip shit like that.
You think they should, but I mean, clearly they probably did not.
You'd think cops would use cop killers. They're already used to shooting innocent civilians anyway. Why not make sure they can take out the armed civilians?
Yep.
Sorry,
but still, like,
dark.
it just tells me that like obviously army teachers probably doesn't solve the problem because the police were physically there and couldn't stop it. Teachers are not trained in guns, like they're probably not gonna be. And then you have teachers hollow tipped bullets and crap. You have teachers like all this like. Yeah, like that just seems like a recipe for disaster too. What if a teacher loses it, or what if a student gets a hold of that gun somehow? Like, and accidentally shoots someone, or a teacher shoots a parent that they weren't expecting to come in the room. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Overall, I agree. But at the same time, I would rather every teacher have a concealed carry versus having a bunch of cops just wandering campuses. Because generally, the cop that's on campus is not like the primo guy.
well, yeah, but neither is a teacher, obviously.
No, but it would get rid of the officer. Having the gun would eliminate the need for the officer.
I mean, not having AR-15s accessible for random 18-year-olds probably takes care of that problem too.
It's very true.
I mean, it's just no other country goes through this.
Limit high-capacity magazines.
Like, yeah, other countries don't have this problem. So it's solvable. Everyone keeps saying, like, who knows what the answer is? I'm like, talk to the other countries that don't have this issue, which is all of them. You know what I mean? Like, and you can't tell me that there's no crazy people in the UK.
The fear is that we...
Like, you know, you can't tell me there's no crazy cuckoo person who lives in the whole entire United Kingdom.
You're right. The fear is we already have so many guns here. What do you do?
I mean, it's gonna be gradual. It's gonna take time. But the thing is, if you were to make guns like illegal or something, like that kid doesn't get a gun.
It's true. Yep.
Not an AR-15 anyway. Like, he might be able to get his hand on like some old person who didn't turn in their rifle. You know what I mean? But like, he's not gonna just be able to go to a gun store and be like, I would like an assault rifle.
Who needs 30 rounds in a rifle? If you're clearly not using an AR-15 and 30 rounds to go hunting. Like,
you're just gonna obliterate a deer to the point where you can't even eat it anymore. Like, that's the goal.
And from what I was told, an AR-15 is not a good hunting rifle.
It's an assault rifle. It's literally just for killing people. That's what it was made for.
So,
I mean, it was made to kill humans. So why we need it makes no sense.
I'm a big gun lover. I have several guns and a couple of pistols, a couple of shotguns. I'd love to go out. I go to the range here, but up in Wisconsin, if I'm ever up there, my buddy's dad has land. He's got 75 acres, so we'll just go and we'll just shoot the shit out of a tree. But even then, we're usually using fucking bolt action, scoping, trying to blow up pop cans from a couple hundred yards.
Well, the funniest part is everyone goes to the Second Amendment where they're like, well, these people back in 1776 said guns were cool. And I'm like, okay, they were muskets, man. Like, how about this? You can have your musket with your little, what's the metal? Oh, I always forget what it's called. The bayonet in the end.
The bayonet,
You can have your musket with your bayonet. And if you want to go try to do a mass shooting with your musket that misfires about, 33% of the time and takes about 15 minutes between shots, like, you go right on ahead. And this obviously, if we had like a lot of viewers, right, obsessed people, but like, why are we just quoting the Constitution like these guys weren't like owning other humans and didn't see women as real people?
Yeah.
Like,
what are they, 5/8? Is that black people?
3/5.
3/5.
And there's a reason why, amendments are made to be there, and it's because we didn't necessarily treat women or people
less
of color
than. They're less than a
as
human.
humans. And like, maybe let's not take everything they say verbatim. Like, because they said we're allowed to have guns. Okay, where's the cutoff? Can I just have a tank?
Well, they do have federal laws prohibiting what you can buy.
Right, but I'm
So
just
like
saying,
you can't buy a sniper rifle.
Yeah, but that's the funny thing though. Is the Constitution just says I can bear arms. I want a tank. I would like to own a drone. I'd like to be able to fly over people's houses and take them out from a distance.
I want a 30-foot aerial assault vehicle.
Yeah, from my hunting. I would
Yeah.
like to. I would like to fly over the deer and take it from my couch.
Yeah, I
I'd
want
like to be
to.
sitting eating pizza, driving my drone around, and taking deer out from a distance.
That's right. I want to sit here in Florida and I want to go hunting up in Wisconsin. I want to blast the ground and destroy a couple of deer. I want baby fawns. I want deer veal, and I will pay someone to walk through the woods and just find the blast radius and just ship me frozen
I feel like
meat.
school shootings are probably good for the whitest kid you know. With the they're called the baby skulls. They're a gang with.
what? How do you stop the boost calls? You got to give them guns too. I felt bad. Like, I had never heard of the Whitest Kid You Know.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you watch The Grapist after I suggested it?
No, I saved their play because they have a whole playlist on YouTube. I have it all saved. It's been a really hectic couple days.
The Grapist is the play. That is by far their best.
I think that's their #1 video on YouTube too, like for views.
It's amazing.
I might have watched it. I watched 3 videos they had because it played next on the playlist.
It's a pun on Kool-Aid. Where he comes in and he goes, I'm gonna grape you in the mouth. Like talking to the kids.
Yeah, I did not watch that one.
Oh, it's fantastic.
I play YouTube in my headphone all the time because I do the bougie thing and I want YouTube to be able to play on my lock screen. But I usually listen to podcasts through YouTube, so like that's a big reason I listen to so much of the Pat McAfee show because it's a 3.5 hour a day sports show, and I just put it in my ear. The Grapist is one I feel like I should watch.
Yes.
And if Reddit hadn't, if someone put that on Reddit of the baby skulls, the gun crime shit, I wouldn't have watched it. And it's weird that I showed it to you a week ago, and then there's another fucking school shooting.
Yeah.
And then today, people are bringing out all these facts and figures about how many mass shootings have been in the United States already this year, and that's an appalling number. That's 254. It's May.
We're going for record-breaking stuff, man.
And it's every year we beat like the previous record.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And like the old Chicago Bulls, Steve Kerr, were held hostage by our senators and our governors.
I could go out tonight and get my hands on a gun illegally pretty easily.
Yeah. I don't know anybody now, but
easier than I could with drugs. The funny is, you could ask around. You can just straight up ask people, like, I want a gun. And they're like, no one's going to turn you into the police for that. The police aren't going to care. If they're like, this guy's looking for a gun, the police aren't probably going to come after you. It's harder to find, like, drugs than it would be to find a gun. Just because you could go into a Walmart and be like, hey, man, like, I don't have the ability to get a gun legally right now, but I want one. And they could probably point you in the right direction.
Yeah, you could go there and be like, hey, buddy.
You could probably go to pawn shops and just get a gun.
Oh, you can. I have 2 guns.
Without needing without having your carry and conceal. Like, they're probably just pawn shops. You pay enough money. You give them enough money.
Well, once you pass, you had to do a background check, but it's the basic background check, just to make sure you're not a felon.
Right, but I'm saying like,
and I bet if you gave him another $200, he'd be like, "All right, man."
That's what I'm saying. Like, you have enough money, you could just get it.
Yeah.
Like, someone will just sell it to you illegally, off their books for the right money. Drugs, you have to actually find someone selling drugs, like to where like I think you can go to a pawn shop and like.
People don't like drug dealers, but everyone's like, "Hey, second a minute, right? I get you. I know where to go."
Yeah, I could. Even think I can go to one of those Trump pop-up stands on the side of the street and say, "I
cool.
want to buy a gun."
There's a lot of them. That's crazy.
You don't think I could go say, "I want to buy a gun. I don't have my conceal and carry, but I want one."
If you buy,
you don't think there's someone they would be like, "I have a gun for you, man."
If you buy a Trump DeSantis 24 sticker, it comes with a 15% discount on your next AR, not your first, your next.
But you know that they would sell me a gun.
Absolutely. Florida's one of the.
Because what if I just said something stupid like I don't want the government tracking me. I want to buy a gun, but I don't want to do the background check because I don't want to be tracked by the
Big Brother knowing that I got it.
They'd be like, damn right.
Right
Come
on, buddy.
To my house, man. I'll get you what you want. And then I'm like, oh, I'll give you money. They're like, no need. I don't need to be paid for this. I'll do it for the kindness of my heart.
Second Amendment.
Oh, my God.
All I care is about the Constitution.
Oh, my God. Okay. That's going to break me. So, OTA started. Let's just...
How...
Terrible transition, but I'm just done. This conversation is not going to go anywhere good for
Can you
me.
look behind your right shoulder? The cart got a green light there?
Yep.
Can you unplug that for me? Just yank it out. It's literally just a plug. There you go.
Yeah, OTA started for Pittsburgh yesterday. Big news. Everyone's like, oh, Pickett's third on the depth chart. Yeah, the Steelers do that with.
Should be.
The Steelers do that with every rookie.
Yeah.
Every rookie starts at the bottom. It's OTAs. It's not even mini camp. It's not training camp. Like,
Yeah, it's truly meant to.
Yeah, it's just like running around. There's no pads. There's no hitting. Then you have mini camp, which is the first mandatory thing, and then you have training camp, and then you have preseason. Like, I still think Pickett's the starter week 1, and I mean, they'll announce it around like week 2 or 3 of the preseason. There's only 3 weeks of the preseason, but
It's true.
there's only 3 weeks, so like he'll pass Rudolph before the preseason starts.
Man, Arby's boneless wings look fucking delicious. I do think, the more I think about it, the more I think Pickett will start, because of all the interviews I've been watching of Mike Tomlin. He's done very good at staying
So neutral.
current, and like he's done so well at staying open-minded, considering he's been an NFL coach now for how many? 14 years, 15 years.
I know we're looking like 50 years the last 3 coaches.
Bill Cowher coached Roethlisberger for 2 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
A little longer than that, I believe.
Could have
Maybe
been
3 or 4. Long enough that Ben wanted to throw out more, and Cowher was like, I can't do this.
so Tomlin's been a coach for enough years and burned by enough media outlets and everything. He's done well at staying young and not criticizing like Juju.
Well,
where he doesn't want to be a
he
TikToker.
still is young as like a person, as a coach.
Overall, as a person, he is.
Like
But
as
he's
a coach, he's still a young head coach.
True.
That's the funny thing. He's been a coach for 14 years, but we hired him like 34 or something. He's like, I don't know. You sure he's 50? How old is Mike Tomlin?
He was the youngest coach by like 4 years.
He's just now 50.
Yeah, he was the youngest coach by like 4 years when he got hired.
I think Belichick's like 70. It's like Tomlin could coach for 20 years, technically. Like,
As long as you guys don't try to lynch him, he could.
yeah,
Had to bring race back into it.
yeah.
I'm still a big fan of Tomlin.
He's a good coach.
I think he is part of the wave of player coaches.
He's a player coach in a good way, not a player coach in that you just get to do whatever you want.
He's not kowtowing, but he
Because there are definitely players coaches that are like
push over like
basically just let their players do what they want.
like Mike D'Antoni.
Yeah, it's like that's not a player's coach. That's just you're a pushover.
Yeah, it's just a little pussy.
To where Tomlin's like, hey, we're gonna be friends, but we're also gonna work.
Yeah, I think he's one of the best at towing the line of those two things.
Mm-hmm.
This has been a really boring game.
He'll just throw you under the bus to the media too. He'll just be like, yeah, you sucked, so be better.
Was he the one that called out Chase Claypool during the immaturity stuff?
I think so. He also benched Claypool for it, and then he threw him and Rosberg did not end on good terms. I know that much.
Shit. They didn't end on good terms?
No, Tomlin didn't even recognize that he retired. He's not made a public statement, and Tomlin, he plays things textbook. He would have if he liked him. And I know there was a play where it was 4th down and like 8 or something from like the 15, and Rosberger threw it like 1 yard downfield, and they asked Tomlin, they said, why didn't you throw it in the end zone or something? And he said, I don't know, that's a question you have to ask Ben. I have no idea why we wouldn't. And I'm like, that saying stuff like that means you're just not getting along anymore. Like, and then Ben on the radio made a comment when they asked if he was coming out of retirement, like Tom, he goes, I know that there's a GM and a head coach that don't want me back.
He's right, though.
Yeah,
He was a shell.
he wasn't good anymore.
He played longer than Brett Favre should have. Brett Favre still had an arm on him. He was still blasting it in there. He could still play comparatively to Ben Roethlisberger. It's how it is, though. Ben wasn't as naturally gifted in the arm as far as the decline. It was just like Ben played a full 2 years with a noodle.
I think the people that age better are people like Breeze and Brady that never necessarily had cannons.
Yeah.
Because when you lose your arm, it's like I've never depended on that in the first place.
Right.
So it's not as big of a deal to where, like when you're Peyton Manning and you did have a laser and then it becomes limp, it's a lot harder. Peyton was bad those last 2 years.
He couldn't throw a spiral his whole career.
Yeah, but he couldn't throw it 30 yards on field anymore.
Yeah, at the very end, he couldn't even throw.
But the problem is he never threw a spiral, but his arm was just strong enough he could just force it downfield, basically.
The best thing about Peyton was his brain.
Yeah, to where Tom had a tight spiral and never had a big arm. So, like, it doesn't
still
matter
flies.
as much. It flies because he has a tight spiral to where when you're throwing a duck, but your arm is just good enough, you can throw it 50 yards. As soon as you lose that arm power, you lose the yardage pretty bad.
And then Favre's still just chucking and ducking. Like, he never had the brain for it.
The Steelers QB coach made a comment about Pickett I liked. He said, I think they asked him what his ceiling was, and he goes, his ceiling is like a Hall of Fame level quarterback. He's like, what do you mean? He's like, and they were like, really? They're like, most people seem to think his ceiling is like, Kirk Cousins or whatever. And he goes, yeah, that's just people don't understand quarterbacks. He said that, like, as far as the media, he's like, the media just only looks at physical tools. And they're like, yeah, Pickett doesn't have a cannon. Pickett's not huge. He's like, but Tom's been okay. Drew Brees was good. He's like, there's so much more about a quarterback than just having the physical tools. He said it's mostly mental and like intangibles. He goes, both of which Pickett's really good. So I like that anyway. And he's like, he's very accurate. And everyone's like, he goes, all the knocks on him are like, yeah, he's accurate and his intangibles are good or whatever. But he's not. He doesn't have a cannon. And that was like the big knock. He doesn't have a cannon. He has small little baby hands.
And truly, Drew Brees never even had an average arm. In comparison, he had a below 15.
Oh, and Tom's always had a bad arm. Like, in comparison to most of the league.
Not as Drew Brees, but yes.
No, but
he was never blowing the doors off of nothing.
Both of those guys are just accurate. And that's the thing is Drew Brees had one of the best deep ball percentages in the league. And it's not because he had a cannon. It's because he's hitting his guys. And that's the thing is Pickett, they said, was by far the most accurate quarterback in the draft. And he had great intangibles. But the knock on him was like he didn't have a cannon and he has small hands. And the Steelers basically like, that doesn't matter. Like, that's like getting the fastest and strongest wide receiver. It doesn't mean they can catch a football.
I'm guilty just like everyone else. When you see, I felt, my biggest draft bust. Do you know who yours was? The player that you fell in love with, not a Steelers player. I mean, it could be, but a player that you fell in love with based on
counting injuries. Well, if you're counting injuries, RG3. But I still have a hard time saying he was a bust because dude wasn't healthy. In that rookie year when he was healthy, he was electric. He was good. Like, he was good his rookie year.
He would have been better than Luck. They were drafting the same class, right? Yep.
But I mean, RG3 was like special that rookie year, and then he started getting hurt, and it just went downhill.
He didn't learn to slide early enough.
So that's the thing is I would say he was the most I was wrong on, but that doesn't really count because, I mean, injuries are the main reason why he didn't make it, in my opinion. I'm trying to think of who I really liked that just wasn't good.
So I know mine, and I feel bad about it every draft year, and I still fall victim to it because it's about arm strength. Who do you think?
Was it Jamarcus Russell?
It's Jamarcus Russell.
I never thought he was gonna be good.
I just fell in love.
Fat.
He was fat, but he was, he's 6'5". He could throw it 55, 60 yards from his knees. Mm-hmm. He could throw it 75.
When you
loaded up,
I was like, oh, okay, it's Jamarcus.
And
I'm trying to think of.
He had Eddie Lacy disease, where it's just like.
I thought Eddie Lacy was going to be really good.
Yeah, well, there's a bust there.
Yeah, it didn't work.
Well,
there's a lot of receivers I thought were going to be really good that didn't work out. Like, I thought Sidney Rice was going to be a thing.
Oh, yep.
I thought Percy Harvin was going to be a better thing.
For the Ravens or the Vikings?
Yeah, I thought
Percy Harvin was good. He got derailed by injuries, too.
But I thought he was going to be special for a long time. Weak
ankles on Percy Harvin.
I thought Julio would be. I'm kidding.
What a fucking nobody.
No, but I thought who was the Lions guys? They had Roy Williams, who I thought was going to be like special.
From USC.
Yeah, and he wasn't anything. I mean, he was good for like a year or two.
Kevin White from the Bears, number 5 overall pick.
I thought he was going to be great. There was a couple guys the Lions drafted that I was like, okay, that dude's just a straight stud.
Jamarcus was my big.
Who did the Bengals have? The Bengals had someone too I thought was going to be great. In between the Hushmanzada.
Oh, TJ Houshmandzadeh.
In
And
between the
so after
Houshmandzadeh,
Cinco, after Houshmandzadeh,
after the Cinco Houshmandzadeh years, before this new
before
wave,
the Tyler Boyds and all them. So
AJ Green, he ended up being okay, but like I thought he was gonna be like maybe the best in the league, and he never made it to there.
No, talent top 5 every year. Injured hamstrings, just yeah. I think AJ Green in the grand scheme is overall a bust to potential.
I thought Aaron Hernandez was gonna be good. He never got injured.
Undefeated.
Dude just had other issues going for him.
If you want another one that you could say that was a bust when you talk about tight ends, so I would say Kellen Winslow. Another head case who ruined pure talent.
Well, he just never looked that good either.
But he
Like,
was
even when he played, it was like Aaron Hernandez when he was on the field was
yeah,
dude, it was good.
It's AJ Green with 30 pounds on him.
Oh, him and Gronk would have been so nasty for years. I don't know how you line up against something like that.
I don't think you can. You'd have to create a defense for that. A weird nickel package that includes a 6'3", 230 safety
Yeah.
with quick twitch reflexes to try to defend that, because Hernandez, from a pure athleticism standpoint, is probably significantly better than Gronk. Gronk had heart and physicality, but Hernandez is fucking fast.
He was. He was Kyle Pitts 1.0.
Yeah.
And he was the first Kyle Pitts. Went to Florida too. Had all that. I come for him.
You know, I just heard today Jonnu Smith for the Patriots is going to be AH 2.0.
Oh, I thought Tyler Eifert was going to be a stud.
Yeah, Eifert. Yeah.
I thought he was going to be really. Tight ends do that all the time, though. Where you have like
They
one
just
year where they
let
score
you
like 10
down.
touchdowns and then they just never are relevant again.
That's the fear, I think, for any fantasy footballer out there. Hawkinson has everything to be that guy, but in a situation, in a spot that can cause him to just give up, does not reach. Hawkinson, he went to Iowa, didn't he?
Yeah. I love Freiermuth. The thing is,
Great
like,
situation. He's going to be a safety valve.
well, the thing about Freiermuth too,
regardless.
though, is his rookie year, he didn't start as a,
He was a third stringer on the depth chart before, wasn't he?
what I'm saying, yeah, the Steelers, he was not like,
He was nothing.
He was not playing at the beginning of the year, and he still had like, 7 touchdowns or something his rookie year? Like,
Last year's rookie year.
yeah.
Yeah, he came out of nowhere. Just
Well, because he didn't do anything for the first 4 or 5 weeks. He barely played, and then he started playing more and more. And then he had a streak where he had the most touchdowns in football over a 6-week span. He had a touchdown every game for 6 weeks. And
he
the thing
took over Sam Darnold's spot of these.
and he set all the records at Penn State for touchdowns. And the thing is, he had a big year. He had 500 yards or something, 7 touchdowns and 50 catches, which is better, by the way, than the rookie years of Gronk and Kelsey. If Kyle Pitts didn't exist, Freiermuth would have got so much media attention. But Kyle Pitts had 1,000 yards his rookie year as a tight end. But he was in more of a situation to do that too, because
my fear is that
the number
Kyle
one
Pitts
wide receiver
turns-
was Russell Gage, and they
Yeah.
were always losing, so they were just chucking it all game long.
My fear is that Kyle Pitts turns into more of a Sterling Sharp situation where it's just blazing, lightning, amazing player that just doesn't match. Sterling Sharp was amazing for 5 years, 6 years,
See,
and
Pitts seemed to
derailed
be
by
a
injuries.
monster in fantasy again this year, though. It's a rookie wide receiver and him, and they're gonna be chucking it.
I don't think so.
Just pure volume from a tight end perspective, he's gonna be good.
Hopefully, you're hoping Mariota.
He finished
reads.
tight end 6 last year.
Yeah, and
And he had 1
Mariota
touchdown.
relied on athleticism more than Matt Ryan ever has.
That's true, but he was tight end 6 last year as a rookie and had 1 touchdown. He's going to have more than 1
catch
touchdown.
monster yards. I just hope that Mariota settles. That was his big problem in Tennessee, rolling out and not finding the
It's
exit.
possible Ritter ends up starting by the end of the year. I will say a lot of their rookies outside of Malik Willis literally slid into a position where they could play by the end of the year. If you're the Falcons and you're 2-8 and Mariota's trash, why not just play some Ritter, see what's up? Same with the Panthers. They're not a good team.
Howell?
They have Matt Corral.
Where's
Howell's in
Howell?
Washington. Again, you have Carson Wentz. You don't owe him anything. So
Just a lot of money.
yeah, but you don't owe him anything as a person. So like all of those quarterbacks could end up starting by the end of the year. To where I think Pickett he's in the situation where he better start right away.
We should go to the whiteboard and see when rookies play. Projections of when rookies take over this season or not.
According to like Vegas or
No, our pick of when.
oh yeah, we already did it with Pickett. Where I said week 1. I said Lance week 1. It'll be interesting. Like, where's Jimmy G gonna like? Is he just gonna stay in San Fran?
I think he restructures his contract. He doesn't want to leave. He's already beautiful. He's already making so much money being a Bay Area.
He wasn't at OTAs yesterday.
Doesn't need to be.
And Lance apparently looked amazing, but I hate that. So we have someone in our fantasy league who's just like every single one of their players. They're just sitting there be like, oh my gosh, they're this, that, and the other. And it's like, okay, yeah.
Kittle did talk up Trey Lance a lot
But
on
this is-
Pat McAfee show.
But this is preseason, and that's the thing. It's like before preseason starts, just so you know, every single team is just studs. All their players are just studs. I remember when the Packers had. I don't
Oh,
remember
Jordan
who
Love.
their 2 tight ends were, but they were going to be able to run these 2 tight end sets, and it was going to be a nightmare for defenses, and blah blah blah. And they never did it.
The way you talk about that in OTAs being voluntary and everything like that, and everyone's a stud. And you know, Jalen Johnson, cornerback from the Bears, actually held. He was Pro Bowl caliber, quality player, but. Well, the last 2 days, he did not line up with the ones. He criticized the play, and some.
Oh,
He
it's more
criticized. So
punishment
I don't know if
thing.
it's a pun. I hope, but the last 2 days in OTAs,
I will say it's a red flag if you hear anything negative about a player right now, because everything should be gushing. I remember that's why I didn't draft any Le'Veon Bell last year when he was at the Jets. Or maybe it was 2 years ago.
2 years now, yeah.
Yeah, 2 years where he lost his job from the Jets because they were like, he looks old and not good anymore, was what they said at camp. I'm like, that's not good. Like, literally everything's, oh, this person's going to be unstoppable. Like, how they talk about Herbert gaining muscle, or, Nyheim Hines, that was news today, he was going to be a weapon. Like, everybody's going to be a weapon. Everyone's going to be an X factor for their team. They're going to take, all the stars are going to take the next step. All of the young guys are going to blossom.
that was a foul.
And that's what happens every single year. So whenever you hear something like this person doesn't look good, they look terrible. They look like
You really do look
embarrassingly
bad.
Like they might not make the roster is usually what that means.
So yeah, I do think it was because he didn't show up to.
Well, you said he criticized the play. That might have just been like, you don't make the calls,
Right. So
bro.
like he looked so great in the prior 3-4 system, and now the Bears, they don't have the talent of a lot of teams. So what are they going to do for it? They're going to make up for it and hustle and just. They're trying to go back to the Lovie Smith days. Like, we're going to hit you harder. We're going to run faster. We're going to outwork you. Well, the rookie minicamp, they talked to Jalen Johnson, and he criticized the acronyms, loafs. There's six different things about, M&M, mean and nasty, loafs of
Oh yeah,
change of direction if you don't hustle. If you're seen on camera not hustling just because you're not within 10 yards of the ball, not trying to go for the turn. Like, he criticized these weird things, so now he's paying for it.
Mm-hmm.
I think he'll come around because he's a great cornerback, especially a beautiful find as a 5th round pick for sure.
Yeah, that's.
And I think what makes it look worse. No, he was the 3rd round. He was the 3rd round pick, and Darnell Mooney was the 5th round pick. And the reason it looks way worse for Jalen Johnson is because Darnell Mooney met up with Justin Fields. They hung out all offseason. They went to Georgia, worked on routes pretty much every single day since the season ended. So if you're a fantasy football player, look out for Mooney because I think they have a bond.
Did you see that? We're about to release. We're about to do our top 5's, the positions. Did you see that PFF ranked the 32 best receivers, and Deontay Johnson was not on the list.
What?
Julio Jones was. Robert Woods was. Like, these guys are okay, but like it was a weird list, man. It's like he wanted to fit certain categories where he was like, these are the up and comers, these are the old people in situations, but I was just like, no, you would not tell me that someone wants Julio Jones over Deontay Johnson this season.
Robert,
No. Julio's still a free agent. No one signed him yet. If Deontay Johnson would not still be a free agent right now, you know what I mean? Someone would have given him money. The Jaguars would have paid him probably $43 million a year if they paid Chris
If they didn't
Kirk.
trade A.J. Brown, he wouldn't be the best player on his team, let alone a top 30
Yeah, that's what
wide
I'm saying.
receiver.
It makes no sense. It was just one of their writers who did it, but I was just like stunned by it. Like,
I'm thinking they did that for clickbait.
but I was like, Julio's, like I said, Julio still isn't on a team. Like, do you know how much money the Jaguars would have paid Deontay if he was a free agent right now?
Let's see.
Like before they signed Kirk, when they signed Kirk for 24 for 28 or 4 for 84, they just signed Deontay for like 4 for 100.
probably, yeah.
I mean, he's worth $4 more million a year than Kirk because Kirk's not worth 21. But that's the thing is like, and at least that way you could say,
He's so young.
yeah,
Something.
Deontay's young and like has shown potential with with bad quarterback situation to be really good. Kirk had Kyler and
Middle. And they talk about that. Oh, people praise the Jags, but now after contracts are fully submitted and everything, they have Trevor Lawrence on a rookie deal. Do you know what their cap space is next season to start the season? Negative $17 million.
That's bad. That's bad.
That's bad. And you were
And they paid Zay Jones $8 million a year. That made no sense to me.
the Bears next year have a
Couldn't start hardly for the Raiders.
right. The Bears next year have $103 million, and then the year after that have $154 million.
I think it's smart that the Bears have that much money because they're gonna get someone.
They can get whoever the fuck they want.
I mean, they'll get McLaurin or Deontay or
As of now,
Debo.
DK's on there. Debo's on there.
DK. They can get any of those guys. That one of those guys would be a free agent. So if they want one of those guys, they can get them.
They have the most money by a lot.
AJ Brown's now off the market.
Right.
He got traded and he made a lot of money.
I want DK. DK wants Chicago. His dad, Terrence Metcalf, played guard for years for the Bears. He wants to go to Chicago. I want him in
I
Chicago.
don't want any of those guys
Yeah.
for the right price. I mean, obviously, like I'm not. It all depends on what they want financially. Like, if I told you get DK for $25 million a year or Deontay for 18, you probably are like, I'll take the $7 million a year. You know what I mean? Like, so it just kind of depends. Like, no matter how you
For
rank
age,
them.
I'm taking Deontay anyway.
Aren't they the same age or same draft class? That's all one draft class. That's why they're all free
God
agents.
damn, you're right.
Yeah, it was
you're right.
McLaurin, Debo, Deontay.
Yeah, but if they weren't first round
Metcalf,
picks, it's
AJ
not
Brown.
the same because if they're a second round pick, they're not fifth year options.
Deontay had a 5th year option. I don't know.
Hey Siri, how old is Deontay Johnson?
25, I believe.
25.
Yeah.
Hey Siri, how old is DK Metcalf?
He should be around that same age. Maybe 24.
24.
Because Deontay.
Oh, the extra
Deontay
year.
has to be older because he went to Central Michigan. When you go to a school like
you go
that,
4
you
years.
have to play. You have to go 4. I mean, you can't. You're not coming out young from a school like that. You're not. It's a lot harder to make that jump. But still, like, the Steelers done messed up though. When Deontay had said he wanted 5 years, 75. Should have signed that the minute he said it.
Now they're not gonna. They're gonna
and then
pay
that Chris
more
Kirk
for
thing-
less years.
Well, then that Chris Kirk thing happened, 4 for 84, and they're like,
Reset
"Whoops."
the market. But now, as much as that reset the market, that can also pendulum back.
Mm-hmm.
Well, fuck you. We're not going to pay that to anybody else because look at what it did to them.
Yeah, and like Tyreek and Adams both got 30.
Well,
Absurd.
when you're elite for 5 years, you get that.
30? That is a lot of money for a receiver.
Well, A.J. Brown got it because Jalen Hurts is still on a rookie
A.J.
deal.
Brown got 24, 25 million a year.
I don't know how the Raiders are doing it. They re-signed Max Crosby. Or what's his name? It's Max Crosby, right?
They're not very deep. I mean, they're not paying a running back. They're not paying any of the
No,
other
and you know what?
receivers.
Henry Ruggs, all his money fell off because he's
Waller doesn't make money.
Nope, his deal's up in 2 years.
But
well, one more football season, so it's this year and
So
next year.
they're not paying a lot of guys.
They let Zay Jones go. Brian Edwards, they traded.
Yep. All right, which position you want to do first?
Josh Jacobs, they didn't exercise his 5th years. Where is all their money going? Just to David Carr or Derek Carr and Devontae. That's it. That's their money. And Max
Offense.
Crosby's deal for the D end.
Yep.
The Raiders are going to be broken again.
Yep. Which position you want to go first?
We'll go to least exciting to most. So running back, wide out, quarterback.
Okay.
Let me take a leak.
I think running back and quarterback will be the most similar. Wide receiver, there's just so many choices you can
So
make.
many. Yeah, we'll do running back, quarterback, wide out, just because there is so like when you can count a slot receiver, and then like what we see can be totally different to what we appreciate, from athleticism to route running to A-Rod. All right, we'll take a little second here, quick, so I can take a leak. And 1 second before we do that, just because I want to play Jack's song on here, so turn up the volume on this. All right, you guys got a few seconds of Jackson's song, but I haven't got to play it because I've only uploaded Jackson's song to Spotify, and I'm gonna have a song for the next baby here in a bit. Talk to the guy to help me with the mix because he knows how to do it way better. He's a professional. Pocket Grooves. If you don't know Pocket Grooves, this guy's a videographer, mix master. Dude's a G. Check him out on Instagram at baby mama text me. 1 second. Baby mama.
This game's going to be a race to 80.
Baby mama. I had to sit next to her today. Savannah got her end of the year award, so good for her. She was so nervous she wouldn't get an award. I get it. It's so hard. I couldn't imagine being a kid nowadays because just social media. Like, I got to be a kid when I was her age. Just get home.
Does every kid get an award, you think?
They did, and I'm okay with that. I'm not one of those parents. Oh, every kid gets an award. Everyone gets a trophy. Yeah, I didn't create that. It started when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. People were getting, participation trophies, this tiny little fucking trophy. And then there was
how hard would it be for a poor kid to sit through a 2-hour ceremony and not get anything?
Let's not beat the fucking kid down when he has no control over most of his life.
Yeah, just be like, oh, you didn't get any of the academic ones because you're average intelligence. Oh, you don't get any athletic ones because you're average athleticism. Like, that'd be miserable.
Yeah, I'm all for participation awards, and our generation did not create them, but we're the ones that get blamed for it. So,
yeah, it makes no sense.
Fuck the people above us. Anyway, I'm going to take a leak, grab a drink, and then you guys get to listen to Jackson's song, and then we're going to go over top 5's.
We're going to get out of here probably because it'll be
like
an hour and a half or something. By
time was flowing. And then I'll probably whoop your ass in another game of Madden because it's what I do. You're welcome. Be right back. Later.
Are you ready?
Let's do it.
It's about to go down.
Are we going to get hopped up enough to make some bad decisions? And perhaps play a little game called Just a Tip. Just for a second.
Goddamn right.
Washed it down with 1 beer, 2 beers, 3 beers, a shot of whiskey, a margarita, and a Bloody Mary.
Damn!
It's happened! Let's fucking go!
That's what they do at colleges. Like my brother, he got an award, and they were like, "You got an award, you should go." And then he goes, and his family goes, and then kids that don't get an award don't go. They don't have to sit and watch you get an award.
Yeah, that's I
mean, they even do that in the NFL.
I was kind
The
of
other 30 teams aren't sitting there watching the trophy presentation,
I was kind of surprised at the
right?
really created divisiveness in the house. Oh, so everybody gets an award. Oh. When do you stop? Because you don't want to destroy a kid's confidence before they develops, man.
Again, I mean, just don't make them watch it. If you don't believe everyone gets an award, fine. I have no problem with at T-ball not everyone getting an award, but just don't make the other kids watch, right? Like that's demeaning at that point. You don't see that. You don't see that like I said, as an adult, like when they talk about paychecks, like, you don't see that with us. I don't have to sit and watch someone who makes more than me get their paycheck, spend their money. Like you said, like, oh, look how nice this house is, look how nice your car is. I don't have to sit there and look at all that. So like, as a kid, like I have no problem with saying you only get a trophy if your team wins the tournament, but let's not make all the kids sit and watch that didn't win. Just give first and second trophies if you want. First place gets a bigger trophy than the second place.
I don't hate some sort of recognition because, like,
I would almost want to be a high school coach, and I want to give an award out. I want to be like an award made with like a broken butt trophy, and just like make it like the busting ass award. Like I want to give an award to the person who like busts their ass the hardest on the team.
We did have similar
an MVP, but also just like, but don't make it like that where it's kind of funny, versus like the Rudy Award, which is kind of demeaning.
So
there are schools who are like, you got the Rudy Award, which means like you're not good at sports. Like it could be our best player that gets it. From what I hear, Aaron Donald will get it for the Rams.
So I won most improved from sophomore to junior and from junior to senior.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, you don't have to be improved. You could just still suck. But you know who's going a lot of practice.
And I was probably the best 1-on-1 and 2-on-2 player on the team. It's just one of those things like I developed so oddly. Mm-hmm. I won the hustle awards. I took the most charges
but you could
by a
like,
lot, and then great
like
free throw shooter.
Practices, you could tell the people who are sandbagging it.
Yeah,
the people who aren't
superstars
really
who didn't have to practice, and then
not
there's
even superstars. You just tell the people who are lazy, like my brother got honored like at his college. They kept calling him Rudy and stuff because he tried so hard, and he was just a long snapper. And I'm like,
that is kind of demeaning, just because
like it's demeaning because of like what Rudy means. Like Rudy was basically like a token for that team. Like you don't want to be the token person. You could applaud someone for working hard without basically being like, yeah, but you're also useless. Because he didn't like that. But
I wouldn't like the Rudy Award, especially in hindsight. All I've heard about is how much of a piece of shit he was.
All right, let's do this.
Let's do this. This is how long have we been on? I can't believe this has been recording without a hitch. I like it. I'm sure you like it too because it's been fucking ridiculous. We've restarted the stream 4 times last week, 6 or 8 times the week before, and this time 1 for 1.
I think that our running backs are probably going to be different too.
I think so.
They'll probably be different in every regard, but
so you want to do top 5s?
Yep.
All right.
What in the world is this website? Okay.
Oh, this is just game. It's just for names for starting running backs and teams, and
Is there rankings though?
it's their rankings.
As in most talented running backs? Or fantasy. It's got to be talented.
It's talent
Because
that's the reason.
It's moved to be way too low based on
You know,
fantasy.
and that's the reason they
Pollard
put
wouldn't be that high,
Pod
yeah.
on there, but not. Oh, Zeke is on there too. Never mind. I didn't even look at this website. I just wanted names just to pull up to refresh.
Oh yeah.
So, number 5. On pure talent, number 5, I'm going to go Saquon Barkley. Injuries be damned. I want Saquon there.
I have Nick Chubb.
See, I haven't seen enough pass catching abilities for him to be rated that high.
No, he's my 5th because on pure running.
I think he's my number 2 for just pure runners, but because I
He's
don't
number
see,
1 pure running.
that's why I traded for him. But now I'm already
He's
having
the best pure running back in the league.
he's going to be a second contract
Dude
running back.
averages like 6 yards a carry.
He's gonna. He's probably my only running back now that I'm not worried about his future. This is his last year of his deal.
Them signing Kareem Hunt
He's playing
hurt
somewhere.
him. Them signing Kareem Hunt hurt him.
A lot.
He needed to be somewhere where he could. There are no bell cow backs. By the way, my honorable mention is Najee Harris, only because he wasn't super efficient last year, but we had a terrible offensive line. But I will say he was. He was the only running back to play 70% of snaps last season.
I didn't realize he played that much.
He played 83%,
That's a lot.
but he was the only running back who played 70%. Different era, man.
My HM then is Cordero Patterson, but he can't stay there because he's the volume back. But
and
his
volume-
effort applies to me.
And volume isn't everything. So it's basically, okay, what's your snap percentage? So he's 83%. If a guy's getting 60% of the snaps, but his backup, it's his 60 plus his backup's 23, right? Like to like create like an amalgam of a player. My 4th was Saquon.
All right, my 4 is Tony Pollard.
That is high.
It is high, but so my reason is his usage rate is so low overall.
Mm-hmm.
I have some of his based on potential.
And it's so hard to rate a guy like that because
He's so explosive in his usage.
yeah,
His
it's
pass
just hard to know
catching
if he had a bigger volume, would he still be as efficient?
He would be lower
is the
probably
hard
if he's
part.
not that guy.
Yeah.
And that's because Zeke's efficiency has gone down every year, but their offensive stats overall as a team has stayed high. Tony Pollard's high for me because I feel like he carries Zeke in a different way. They're like the thunder and lightning of the Giants of 2013-14. He's Tiki and Rondé.
Here's the thing. So number 3 for me, Jonathan Taylor.
Why so low?
See, I knew that was ever since dude had 35 catches last year, if that.
But how many drops did he have? His utilization.
Look. Let's see, Jonathan Taylor drops. That might be hard to find.
I guess we should
He
have
had-
specified
he had 5
parameter.
drops last year
Okay.
and 40 catches.
That is not good.
So he dropped it 11% of the time.
I'm going to match you on Jonathan Taylor, and I didn't even check at that percentage.
Yeah, he had 40 catches. He had 40 catches for 360 yards.
We should have specified more as far as
No, it's the position. It's not just running.
yeah, right, position, which is why
Which is
Nick
why he's
Chubb
there.
wasn't on my list to begin with, just because there's just so much dual utilization.
100%, but he was 5th for me because he's so good at running. That it's like, okay, if if you use him on first and second down, you know how easy it is to.
But then
sign
how's
a
Jonathan
JD
Taylor above Nick Chubb? You just said Nick Chubb is the best pure runner in the league.
I don't know. Partially, probably just situation.
Headlines, headlines and situation, probably.
Everyone thinks that Jonathan Taylor is the best, and
yeah, headlines and utilization. Nick Chubb doesn't even get as much headlines as Kareem Hunt because splash plays.
And Jonathan Taylor does do slightly more catching than Nick Chubb, which he does 0.
Fair.
Like, so I mean, the 40 catches is still more than like that. That's why Derrick Henry's on my list. Dude doesn't catch balls.
But he is a baller.
He is a volume monster.
So then 3 on me. Ever since I fell in love with Darren Sproles back in 2006, 2007, it's got to be like CMCC or CMC.
He's your third?
Because his body of work is fantastic. I also hate lack of availability. What the greatest abilities in the NFL: availability, durability. He doesn't hit it, but when he is in, he's the best. He's the best player on the field at any given time, but he's not on the field.
And I'm gonna say it. McCaffrey is my number 1.
I get it. When he's on the field, he's the best player in the league.
And then to fill out my top 5, I guess my number 2 is Alvin Kamara. Talking about like a full body of work, the best pass catching running back in football.
Yep.
And he's just so elusive. And like he's not going to be a guy who's going to get 30 touches a game, and I get that. But to me, again, it's like that's fine. You give him his 20 touches. He averaged like 7 yards a touch or something stupid, and then his other 10 touches go to Mark Ingram or whatever. It's still when you combine those two together.
2 is who for you?
What?
2 was who for you?
Alvin Kamara.
Okay.
But like I said, to me, I'm like, I understand that the knock on him is that he can't play 30 touches, but I'm like, okay, it's fine. You get a running back off the street, a Ronald Jones, a Darrell Williams, just a guy type guy. Give him the other 10 touches, and they're still going to be, those 30 touches are going to be better than any other running back's 30 touches, basically. Because Alvin Kamara's doing so much in his 20 touches.
So 2's Kamara for me. I'm with you. 1 for me is Mixon because I think he's still an ascending asset.
You think he's the best running back in football right now?
He can be if they quit throwing the ball so much to Jameson or to Jamar Chase. And he's shown so much strength in the screen game.
My only knock on him would be he didn't do a whole lot when they didn't have the receivers. So like he needed the situation to where like.
But they also had the worst line in the league.
Have people. The Panthers are just trash. I mean, I don't know how McCaffrey puts up the stats he does, with no QB, no line. He's just like, get good, guys.
I just my issue is because like every week the injury report.
Yeah, McCaffrey's always.
I get to hear Jake Glazer talk about whether or not McCaffrey's playing or not, and it's so frustrating. I've been burned before by McCaffrey.
Are we picking these people for a game or for a season? Because if we're picking him for a game, McCaffrey's won. Like if everyone's healthy and you're getting him today.
If I get one game, I'm probably going to do a power run scheme, and I'm going to have someone like Blazing Game or Juszczyk. I'm going to let someone run that way through the hole, hit that first linebacker out the hole, and just let McCaffrey work.
Yep. All right, so then what we're doing quarterbacks next?
Smarter to do quarterbacks, yeah, because it's
number 5 for me, Aaron Rodgers.
Now.
Sorry, bro.
So before we set parameters, future
for
ever.
Me, I was just thinking this season.
Who's gonna be the best? Okay.
Like you're going into the quarterback. This guy's your quarterback going into this year. For me, Rodgers was my number 5.
All right, for this season, Kyler
5th.
5.
4 for me, Russell Wilson.
Okay.
I understand that he looked bad towards the end of last year, but I think there was a lack of caring towards the end of that season, to be honest with you. I think he was finally fed up where he's like, I can't do this anymore.
Man, look at that. They have him Russell ranked 11th.
Everyone's knocking him because of what happened towards the end of last year.
Madden bias, 4 for me, Lamar Jackson.
See, Lamar's someone where if you just had to tell me like my team was going to be randomized, he might be number one. You know what I mean? Like because
he's so scheme dependent,
work.
right? You're right. And there's all these weird, like PFF stats. So he's like the greatest quarterback just because of his efficiency and everything like that. And I get that, but he's my number 4 for me because he hasn't done anything.
My dad never thinks Lamar's that good because he never plays well against us. But I was like, okay, we are an elite defense, and we're able to basically say your wide receivers are garbage, and we're just going to single cover them and take them away, and we're going to still be able to get pressure on you with our great pass rush, and it's going to create problems for you. Because if we're busting through the line and no one's open, no quarterback's going to be successful in that situation.
The Steelers or the Ravens. Lamar would suck playing against the Ravens too. You guys always end up with great speed outside, your TJ Watt and their Terrell Suggs.
Well, the thing is, he might be good on our team though because we have actual receivers.
You guys always have this big fat fucker like Casey Hayward. Who's your big D tackle? It's always
Casey Hampton was the guy though.
Right. So you guys, and just like they had,
Haloti
Ngata for years right at the middle. So you're stuff in the middle, 2 or 3 on him at all times for lane plugs. But always have an outside
it might
rush.
Have been different if he had good receivers. Because then he
he couldn't have had a terrible one. Marquise Brown, look what he just got.
And everyone laughed when he got the first round pick. Everyone's like, what are the Cardinals doing? That to me was probably a Kyler thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Him and Kyler were roommates and best friends at Oklahoma. They're fighting for a contract. I think it was partially like, hey man, we'll get your buddy here. Please sign. I think it was more that than just for Marquise.
I think it's
and part of it's scheme too. They don't ask Lamar to throw it a lot, but outside of Marquise, he didn't have anyone. And Marquise is a burner. He's not a 3-round.
Yeah, he would be a top 5 wide receiver probably in.
The problem with Lamar is
St. Louis or Kansas City.
Lamar drops back, looks for Marquise Brown on his streak. If he doesn't burn his corner, he has no one to throw to. Maybe Mark Andrews. But if Mark Andrews is covered and Marquise Brown doesn't burn his corner,
they just re-signed Hurts. Or not Ertz, Zach Ertz. They just re-signed him.
The Cardinals did.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I was talking about the Ravens.
Oh, if Kyler was on there.
I'm just talking about Lamar.
Oh, Lamar.
I was like, he drops back, and if Marquise Brown didn't burn the corner and Mark Andrews didn't get open, then there's no one to throw to anymore. It's now run for your life. And
This is like
Watt's coming from behind you.
This is the ugliest game. Wow.
This is
Al Horford.
Hard fought basketball. Reminds me of college. With
right,
little, it's not so smooth.
We both just did 4, right?
Yep.
So you're up for. Oh no, I guess I do 3 now, right? 3. As much as I fucking hate the guy, I'm taking A-Rod. I now after learning about how. So you talked about everyone in the off season. Everyone looks great.
I'm really confused on how you're gonna fit all these.
I know it's really hard.
Top 2.
But so the reason A-Rod is on there is his efficiency.
Mm-hmm. He's good. That's what he's
And you talked about how great everyone looks in mini camps.
Mm-hmm.
Justin Fields is saying that he's A-Rod. So my concern is he drops down a shit ton this season based on if he weren't in his scheme, the weird mesh scheme that they run, which is what the Bears are going to run now. So my hope is Justin Fields has top 10 efficiency. I'm not going to say top 10 quarterback in the league. That's a big jump from the 28th ranked quarterback. Efficiency, if he is close to A-Rod, my rankings and futures for Aaron Rodgers will drop significantly because it's a power zone run mesh concept, which is very similar to the Chiefs run, which is a spread zone run pass scheme. So as of now, A-Rod is 3.
All right. My 3, Tom Brady. I don't think I need to elaborate on Tom Brady at all. I think we all know that dude's good.
We're talking about active players, I'll tell you this. Tom Brady didn't make my list. I don't think he's a top 5 active quarterback. As a leader, he is number 1. Yeah. He is it. And I watched Man in the Arena. I fucking love Tom Brady.
It was hard for me not to put him 1. I'll be honest with you.
I would let Tom Brady me in the I would let Tom Brady have his way with me.
It was hard for me not to put him 1 this year.
I understand. I totally understand. But as far as
To me, I just think there's
skills,
I think there's just a clear top 2.
I think Tom is not there skillfully like he was. As a athlete, he's still extremely subpar.
Yep, never been good.
Arm, subpar. Leader, number 1.
He's just accurate and smart and experienced. That's why he'd be my favorite.
He's creating Tampa Bay offense because that's what he runs. And he's, Bruce Arians, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
I'll run this. I get that. Skill wise, I don't think he's that. So number 2.
Number 2 for me, Josh Allen.
That's fair. You're right. I'm not going to disagree. Yeah, I know you thought.
And the number 1 is Patty
Mahomes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like and those guys are number 1 and 2. I'm seeing a lot of lists that have Josh Allen number 1 right now, and I think that is just prisoner of the moment behavior. I think that people are just like what I've most recently
And you know
seen.
what? Allen still ain't beat Mahomes.
Yeah, and my favorite
To create something out of nothing, Herbert, I think, will beat
here's
Josh
the thing.
Allen.
I
Something
think
out of
Stephon
nothing.
Diggs is a stud. I don't think Tyreek Hill is. We will see.
Who?
Tyreek Hill.
No, I think Hill's numbers.
I think Mahomes made Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, I think Hill's numbers suffer, and I think we're going to find. I think Cole Hardman goes from a number 3 to a low end 1.
Whoever Mahomes decides is his guy is going to be an absolute baller. Whether it's Juju or Sky Moore,
I think
or
Juju-
MVS or McCole Hardman, one of those guys is going to be a monster.
Man, that's hard.
And Kelsey's going to have a big year.
That's why I didn't end up doing the trade with Adam.
If Kelsey gets hurt, by the way, Juju is going to absolutely ball out in those games.
You're right. Let's
Because
see.
they both play the intermediate. I think both Juju and Kelsey have a big year, and then one of those MVS
I think MVS struggles.
Sky Moore,
I think MVS struggles.
Hardman, one of those guys is going to be big.
I think Hardman goes big because it's not hands. I think he didn't have the opportunity because his skills and route tree are the same as
My only concern
Tyreek.
with him is he never busted out in the games that Tyreek missed. A lot of times it's like DeMarcus Robinson and weird stuff like that. So I just don't know.
I do think it does depend a lot on chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
Because everyone's like, who's faster, Hardman or Tyreek? And you're right. They are Cheetah and Cheetah 1.1.
I don't think that Tyreek's that good. I think that people are going to see that he's not that good because Tyreek.
He's
What
just
were his stats with? He's old. He's 30. He's like 30, right?
He's 29. Actually, no, he's 29.
29. What were his stats with Alex Smith?
Garbage.
Can we pull up Tyreek's stats real quick? He's not my top 5, by the way.
No.
Tyreek wouldn't be my top 10.
Oh, he'd probably. I think he was my number 8 when I first made it.
Because I want to see before Patrick Mahomes, what did Tyreek Hill do? Because I bet it was a whole lot of nothing. Other guys I thought was going to be a stud, though. Dwayne Bowe. Remember Dwayne Bowe?
Oh, he was supposed to be a baller.
He was for like a year. We can see what Alex Smith's last year's starter was.
Yeah.
All right, so Alex Smith,
2013 up to 2018 Washington, so 2017 he was 33, 15 games started. So yeah, Mahomes started. This is his last year as a starter.
16, 17.
2017.
Well, he started 10 games in 18, so 2016, 17, and 18.
What?
Wait, did he not start?
2018 he's Washington.
Oh, so 2017, yeah, this is last year's starter. Okay.
So he was his last year.
And he threw for 4,000 yards, which is
And
a
he
decent
didn't
amount
even
of
play.
yards.
He didn't play week 17 at all. Tyreek Hill
had
still
1,100
good.
yards, which is fine, but he was the number 1 receiver. 1,100 yards is not a
But
top
look
5.
at the change. The first year with Mahomes,
Yeah,
300 yards, 5 extra touchdowns. He also had 5 extra rushes.
even last year, he only had 1,200 yards. To me, I'm like, why is that a
So
top,
I
why is
think
that a
it's
top
because-
5 receiver?
I think it's because of splash plays.
But it's like 87, like the 2020 though, 87 catches, 1,200 yards, 15 touchdowns is a good year, but is it a top 5?
I do think he's truly low end wide receiver 1 as numbers go.
Yeah, I mean that's not special.
Byron Pringle last year had 800 yards, so he's another third.
Look at
That's weird. I didn't realize it was so.
Look at AB stats real quick because they hurt to look at.
It's hard.
You just look at wasted talent.
It's not wasted talent. It's just like otherworldly.
Well, wasted talent as far as now. I think you do it down as the best ever. Because look at that span between 2013 and 2018.
His lowest year is better than almost all of Tyreek's best years.
His worst year was 104 catches, 1,300 yards, 15 scores. That was his worst season. His other years were 1,500, 1,700, 1,800.
How weird is that? The credit.
The touchdowns 8, 13, 10, 12, 9, 15.
15. Jesus Christ.
And look at his receptions 110, 129, 136, 106, 101, 104. Dude's a monster. I mean, look at those years.
God damn.
I know, it doesn't even make any sense, does it?
He's got Jerry Rice numbers in those 5 years. Like, he's better than Jerry Rice in those 5 years.
It was the best 5 seasons
in history.
Streak in the history of the NFL by like a lot, by the way. Do you know it was like 800 yards more than second place and like 100 catches more than second place?
So, we're going into the wide receiver rankings. Mm-hmm. Is he on the list? No. He's not. Should he be?
He's not in the league.
Should he be?
Right now?
Skill? No. Should he be?
No. Maybe. He might be. He probably would be 5th. 4th or 5th for me. But he's also really old now.
You're right.
So injuries are just an issue. Obviously mental hiccups. Because if you're telling me I'm getting him for a season, very concerned about his head to make it through a year. All right, so my number 5 is Jamar Chase.
So are we building this for 1 year or 3 years?
Just 1 year. Just right now, this season. Who's the best receiver right now? My number 5 is Jamar Chase. On the merit of no one is better at, he's going to get a 40-yard catch in that game, every game. I don't think he is, I don't think he is like gonna get like a 10 catches in the game really very often.
For one whole season.
Randy Moss had a lot of years he'd have like 80 catches for like 100, like for 1,600 yards. Like,
yeah,
you could be a deep threat and still be very good. So I'd have Jamar Chase 5th. And the only reason I don't have him higher is because I just don't think he's not the type of receiver. I don't think it's 3rd and 8 in a close game. I don't think you can just hit Jamar Chase.
You're hitting Thielen or you're hitting T. Higgins before Jamar Chase.
Like, I don't think you can just find him. To like AB, by the way, you could. Any situation was AB time.
Always.
You want to go deep? You want to go underneath? You need a possession guy. You won the end zone.
I need it now.
The best sideline receiver of all time. AB, and not close. That dude just caught everything and got his feet in. It was absurd. Yeah, who's your 5?
I'm gonna match you with Jamar Chase because of splash plays.
Yep.
And
I think he's more quarterback proof than Tyreek Hill.
Absolutely.
I think he legit can just run straight and then out jump a guy. The problem with Tyreek is he's not going to get a jump ball. So the problem with Tyreek is a lot of his routes are running across the field, so he has to have that cannon. So I think he's going to be exposed to Tua a little bit, and they're going to realize that you can't just throw it. Not everyone can throw it 60 yards across their body across the field in the air on a rope. Like,
absolutely, which is why. Where was it? My number 4 is going to be Stephon Diggs. Just because Stephon Diggs is much sharper in his tree.
He's very good, yeah. My number 4 is Nuke.
Right.
Assuming he doesn't get that. If I don't have to build in the 6-game suspension, right?
I fear God, homie.
Yeah, Nuke is very good.
He didn't hit my list just because similar. Oh my God.
Kyler's stats were very different with him on and off the court.
So the reason he's not on mine is the reason CMC is not my 1.
The injuries.
The best ability is availability.
Yep.
And what the fuck? How do you hit?
And I like guys like that though. Like that just put up no matter who their quarterback is. That dude put up for years with whoever.
Talent, your people are correct.
Mm-hmm.
But if I can't count on him for a 3-game span,
Right.
I can't count on him on a 1-game span.
My number 3, because you did 4 first. My number 3 is Cooper Kupp.
Okay. Why Cup lower than somebody else?
Why Kupp not 2 or 1? Again, just route tree. He's a slot guy. He's very good. I think it's partially a situation thing. I don't think you put Cooper Kupp on Jacksonville and he puts up big numbers. I don't think he's just superb and just good. My number 2 guys can run. My 1 and 2 can run any route. And Kupp can to an extent. Don't get me wrong, but I think that he was in a great offense. And I don't know. I have my doubts that he would just succeed in any situation.
Okay.
But he's still third. I'll
get you.
There's nothing wrong with being third.
My third, T. Higgins. And my fear is that he's better than third because I still think he's better than Jamar Chase. He is such a big body. He's so efficient. Last season, even with a healthy team, he out-targeted, out-caught, yardages with Jamar Chase from week 8 on in the NFL. I think T. Higgins is a number 3 efficient, great wide receiver for the next 5 years. Because he's built like someone that's going to lead the league in it. He's a Cooper Kupp with a bigger body.
This is the same thing as last time where I'm like, oh no, you're leaving out one of my top 3, obviously, at this point. My number 2, Davante Adams.
I couldn't do your list with Davante Adams, actually, because the age. I know it's one for one season, but I don't know what he was like without A-Rod.
Oh, he's going to be a stud. Here's the thing. He beats man coverage and zone coverage both so efficiently.
So my number 2 was Cooper. Because I know he's a slot guy, but so is AB.
Yeah. AB never played in the slot hardly.
He played with it with Tom Brady.
But he might have a Tampa, but
I didn't get
Godwin was a slot. Godwin's a slot receiver.
I do feel like it's an interchangeable thing because maybe it's just because
he can line anywhere.
I do think it's because the plays I watched with AB, it zoomed in so far on AB to watch his footwork. He works like a slot guy.
Yeah.
The way that he can do his pitter pat, swipe a hand away and cut.
He can line up anywhere.
Right.
Sometimes the Steelers would put him in the slot just to get him off of corners. It's harder to double.
I think because I love a slot guy, and because T. Higgins also lines up in the slot on a 2-wide set, well, they'll do twins left.
When you can't knock slot receivers. I mean, it's a big part of the NFL nowadays.
It's the number. It's probably the most important part as far as you need a first down and third.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Who's your 1?
Justin Jefferson.
Same.
Yeah, it has to be.
So Davante Adams isn't even top 5 for you?
He's 7. But it's only because it's the unknown now. I do love him, but I also saw on the outside, Davante Adams has been a primary wide receiver. Jalen Johnson for the Bears, a 5th-round draft pick, shut Davante Adams down entirely last season for the Bears.
That happens to every receiver.
But
except for AP.
When he went to slot, he had like 115 yards on 4 catches, and he dominated because Jalen Johnson didn't know how to defend the slot.
Mm-hmm.
My worry is that schematically and quarterback-wise, Davante is more he's stronger than he is as a wide receiver than he is based on scheme.
And that's why
the same reason Aaron Rodgers man, is it scheme based?
That's why I think AB is probably the best receiver ever.
AB can do whatever the fuck he wants when he wants.
Literally, teams when we faced the Patriots, they would try to take him out of games, and he'd have 2 touchdowns and 130 yards because you literally couldn't take him out. You double, triple team him, he didn't care. He'd find space. He doesn't find space. He would just catch it with you draped over him.
My hope is that Davante is more like Antonio Brown, and Aaron Rodgers is more like Alex Smith. He's he's a guy based on scheme, And he's smart enough to figure it out.
Aaron Rodgers is good. I have concerns, though, for him this season.
He doesn't have a quarter. He does not have a wide receiver.
Because
he's got Christian Watson right now, but
you could say Devontae Adams made him or whatever. Or
you can also say the other way.
He made Devontae Adams, but the problem is he gets so high of a percentage of Aaron Rodgers' stuff.
He's like 40% of his passing yards for 2 years.
That's the concerning part is like, what the other guys do. And you can't have 9 receivers with 600 yards. That's not going to work.
So my thought
they
process...
better hope that Watkins or Watson or Daubs is good.
I will freely admit at 10:23 p.m. on 525
get Julio or Odell.
that the skills are swapped in Devontae's 3 and A-Rod is off the list. And that Aaron Rodgers' skill is based on scheme and Devontae's work ethic.
The hot honey sauce, I'm in, man.
I told you. That's
a flavor I love, too.
So my thought process is that on this list, skill and number could swap almost freely. Devontae be 3, Aaron Rodgers be 7, based on scheme, and turns out the other guy was carrying the other.
I'd like to see what Aaron Rodgers did like last year in games Devontae missed. Like, how good was he in those games?
Poor. So I follow a bunch of Packer stands on Twitter.
How'd Devontae do in games that Rodgers missed? With the games that he put in Jordan Love last 2 years?
It was one game.
Oh, it was only one game?
Poor. But
Jordan Love also looked awful.
Jordan Love looked awful, and that was at Kansas City. Mm-hmm. And Jordan Love's mom sat on the road 96 by the flagpole of the South. Like it was crazy to watch the camera zoom in to Jordan Love's mom to watch him play in his first game. It was awful. Aaron Rodgers has succeeded without Devontae. Devontae hasn't succeeded without Aaron Rodgers. I get that. The thing is, in the games without Devontae last season, I think there was 2 of them, and in one of them, he passed for like 209 yards. Randall Cobb had 3 catches for 15 yards, bless you, and 2 touchdowns. Aaron Rodgers, it might have been less. It might have been 189 yards, but I think it was 209 yards. On short fields, the Packers, I think, in total had 302 yards of offense, which is pretty low as far as offensive standards go. It wasn't A.J. Dillon. No, it was, who's the other running back?
Aaron Jones?
Aaron Jones had more yards. A.J. Dillon didn't have shit. So it was before the injury to Dillon. Aaron Rodgers did not do well without Devontae, but the Packers won those games. Defense really stepped up when they had to last season for the Packers.
Yeah, Packers.
My thought process now is the Packers are on the real. They're going to go in a sharper decline than anticipated without having weapons for Aaron Rodgers.
Unless they sign Odell.
Unless they sign who?
Odell.
He got injured in the Super Bowl, so
yeah,
he's not going to come back until week 11 at best. Week 10?
I have no idea. But the thing is, like, it'll be interesting to see, like...
But Odell, he's probably top 10 as far as skill tree.
The thing is, he'd be good with Rodgers. The thing is...
This is the 3rd in a row, 3 I saw that didn't hit the fucking rim, but hit the backboard.
Well, dose. All right, well, I'm ready to lose in some Madden, I guess, and...
Yeah, we'll play one. What was it? 10:30? Yeah, it's early as shit still. I think we did good on our top 5s. Just enough differentiation with justification for both.
Yep.
For all of it. So I'm excited for our fantasy drafts and our dynasty leagues. I do think dynasty is going to overtake both ESPN and Yahoo in a period of time.
For the serious people. For casuals, redraft will always be the way to go because you can't
but ESPN
ruin your whole entire career in 3 years.
ESPN's interface fucking sucks.
Oh, you're saying sleeper might? That's possible. I was just talking about like redraft over dynasty leagues. You can do redraft leagues on sleeper.
You can. I think overall, sleeper's going to take over all of it. I do think Dynasty's gaining in popularity.
No, Dynasty's so fun for people who know what they're doing. But I mean, if you're just like a casual work league, Dynasty would be rough, especially for a work league.
Turnovers, yeah.
Turnover.
People don't stay at their job.
And then also just like if you really don't know football, you could make your team so unbelievably bad in like 3 years.
You're right. It's just Sleeper's user interface is phenomenal.
That's amazing.
And I can't.
My only qualm is that it's really hard to get rid of the little notification badge sometimes. I don't know where they're coming from.
Yeah. It's in the settings too, and that's what sucks. You have to go into the settings of your user profile to check the notifications, and it's usually a message generated from someone else, like involving at all. It is fucking annoying. They'll work on it, but their interface is so fucking good. Yahoo is still kind of stuck in 2016. ESPN's. I mean, it works.
Yep.
Anyway, this has been the MBZ podcast. I think we fucking nailed it. I might have to split this video up into 2 separately because our top 5s was our top 5s was fucking on point. I don't care what you fuckers say. You're wrong. You guys have a good fucking night. I gotta work on a setup here. I think now that I realized that it was software, not me, I think we're gonna be good to go. You guys have a wonderful evening. We'll be back next week. OTA is gonna be done for the NFL. It's not open to the media for most teams now. I think the Patriots are gonna fucking suck. I think the Patriots are gonna finish 6-11 this year.
I can see it.
What other quarterbacks going into the second year? Trevor Lawrence, 5-12. Zach Wilson, 5-12. Bears have I think it's because the Bears have such an easier schedule than before. 9-8. Who's the other one? Trey. I think Trey's going to be a victim of the Deebo Samuel drama. 8-9. And he doesn't finish the season. I think he misses 6 games on injury. Who's the other one?
That's it. Those are the 4.
I think Deshaun Moss is going to miss the rest of the season. I don't think he's going to play this 2022.
With suspension, you think he'll be suspended all year?
I think he's suspended all season long. What do you think?
I don't think so, but I'd be okay with that. Okay, that dude never plays anymore.
Didn't you trade for him? Didn't you make him your starting quarterback because you love rapists?
I didn't trade for him.
Just fucking joke.
I don't have him.
Because we're off camera.
Oh, no, I don't have him.
Oh, man. It was good. This has been the ugliest basketball game. I feel like I'm watching in 2003. Non-copyright music. Sebastian Pocket Grooves, why don't you play us out here with some Let's Bounce.
Thanks for listening to the On Call Podcast. Check us out on Twitter @OnCallPod. Interested in being a sponsor or want to be on the show? Drop us an email at oncallpod@gmail.com. For more info, go to oncallpod.com.